Camber Energy is an independent energy company that engages in the acquisition, development, and sale of energy-related assets. And with me is the CEO, Jim Doris. The company traded here at the New York Stock Exchange, so great to have you here. And you recently announced the resumption of efforts to complete a merger between Camber and Viking Energy. Anticipated for quite some time. Bring me up to date on.
Yeah, fully combining the two entities has been an objective of ours. There's been a long delay in moving forward with next steps, but as we publicly announced last week, we addressed two important items that were impeding progress. So now that they've been dealt with, we're pleased to resume, as you mentioned, new negotiations and try to get the deal closed.
So what does Viking bring to the table for Camber?
There are a lot of things, but I think the three main items are one, immediate increase in revenues. So through Viking's active power solutions business, it generates approximately 60 times the revenue that Camber generates currently. So that's helpful. And then there's expansion opportunities within that division throughout North America. Secondly, we believe there's significant growth potential with respect to the innovative technologies that Viking has an interest in, including an open conductor detection technology, a waste treatment system using ozone, and an exclusive license we have for a clean energy system. And then the final thing is just the additional acquisitions that the entire Viking team, including its joint venture partners, can bring to the table when the organization's fully combined.
Now, those innovative technologies that you mentioned, are those fully implemented? Are they still in the research and development phase? Where are those?
So definitely beyond the research and development phase, now in the commercialization stage. So we've done our own internal testing. We've had reputable third parties do testing, and now it's a matter of prospective customers educating themselves on the technology and performing their own tests. And although we don't provide any assurances, we're optimistic that we'll commercialize all the technologies this year.
Who would be the potential customers for these new technologies?
It differs depending on the technology, but for example, our open conductor detection technology, and I'll just give a high-level overview of what that is. So utility companies, they use, among other things, what's called a relay device as part of their infrastructure to monitor activity on power lines. And our technology gets incorporated into the relay device to help identify faults or breaks in power lines and to de-energize the line within fractions of a second. So it helps with achieving grid stability. It helps mitigate the risk of hazardous events that can occur from down power lines. And so the ultimate end users are utilities around the world. And then on their waste system, using ozone, ultimate end users include hospitals, prisons, care centers, laboratories. And so our customers will be waste processing companies that service those institutions, but the ultimate end user will be those groups.
And then what about just the current macro environment that we're in? Energy was one of the few winners in 2022. How did you navigate that? And then what about the banking situation we've seen so far this year?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting time, to say the least. Sometimes we're reminded, and in this case, in a not so friendly way, that decisions have consequences. You have a period of ultra low interest rates, massive government spending, paying people to stay at home, shutting certain businesses down. But ultimately, our focus or our objective is just to focus on what we can control. And that one is that stabilizing and improving our platform, strengthening our foundation to facilitate growth, and this proposed merger will help in that regard. And then just focusing on building a diverse yet synergistic portfolio of products and services that are in demand regardless of market conditions.
And it sounds like you're also kind of preparing for the transition to green energy as well, as fossil fuels are going to be around for a while, but there was also a move for green energy.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Look, you have to take a pragmatic approach. You always want to have an open mind as to new solutions, better ways to accomplish, be environmentally friendly, be a good corporate steward, but you have to be practical and at the same time want to have something that brings profitability to stakeholders.
Now, we noticed that you recently engaged Share Intel to review historical trading activity, possibly identify some illegal short selling.
Yes.
Explain the decision-making behind that.
Sure. So one of the biggest obstacles that publicly traded small mid-cap companies face is short selling. And of course you have illegal short selling, and then there's lawful short selling. In my view, it should all be illegal, but I'm not going to change the rules anytime soon. So as a company, we have to acknowledge that it exists and then do our best to eradicate the illegal short selling and then minimize the activity of the legal short selling in our stock. And of course, the best way to do that is to just execute on your business plan. But at the same time, most companies don't understand the coordinated effort that's going on behind the scenes with certain brokers and clearing firms and traders just to short stocks. And so we want to let people know that we're paying attention and to encourage them to go elsewhere. And Share Intel provides a helpful service. They're in the intelligence gathering phase right now, but that data will be helpful to keep people honest.
Got it.
Yeah.
And the merger, what's the next steps then with Viking?
Right now, it's having each of Viking and Camber have engaged independent companies to perform a fairness analysis with a view to providing a fairness opinion to the separate board of directors. And assuming those are complete, the major step after that will be file an S4 with the SEC for review.
Any other potential acquisitions, mergers, opportunities on the horizon?
We're always evaluating new opportunities. Closing the merger would definitely help us pursue and close on transactions, but we do have an open mind and are pursuing transactions in the interim and do have the flexibility to close on compelling deals.
Now, there's also a special meeting in April to increase Camber's authorized capital.
Right.
Explain that. How is that beneficial?
Well, right now, Camber's at its authorized capital limit,
okay.
And so it can't issue any more shares without shareholder approval. And in order for the company to grow, whether to transact on acquisitions or financing transactions or other value-added initiatives, the company needs the flexibility in the stock to do it. So we're hopeful that the shareholders will recognize that and vote in favor of the increase.
Okay. Anything else you want to say to shareholders?
We're undeterred. We're focused on our business plan. We're sensitive to market conditions, but as I mentioned earlier, we're just focusing on what we can control, and ultimately we believe that'll benefit all our stakeholders.
Yeah. All right, Jim, thank you so much for coming in, updating us on the merger and the company.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.